Hello and welcome to the podcast. This is a new
everybody.
podcast.
It might have been like demon possessed. It was a fairly large, mutated looking chicken.
We were born in the north, but we grew up in the south.
We learned all of our words from Pennsylvania.
And people are like, that's toboggan. That little toboggan
Not
there.
a toboggan. Toboggan is a sled. Okay.
0.3 inches, baby.
Dude, I can't take it.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. You're watching the podcast, Wiseworks Podcast. And we got Josh with us today. Josh Goforth.
Goforth.
Not Josh Wisener today. This is my cousin. I've known him for a long time, since we were really young. You know, I don't remember a time where I didn't know Josh.
So, you guys were essentially born together.
Yeah.
Born together.
Yeah.
Friggin' Josh.
Separate
but
together.
Josh, you've been on the Midnight Special before. This is your first time on the video episode. Why don't you introduce yourself to people who may not know your face?
Hello, I am Josh. I'm a cousin of Wyatt and a friend of Joseph's and Josh's. Yeah. I'm a pretty boring person.
No, you're not.
And I like pie. I like lemon meringue pie.
Yeah, dude, I'm a key
my
lime.
favorite part of the lemon meringue pie.
I'm a key lime guy myself.
You're a key lime?
Yeah.
I'm a blackberry and
Just
apple.
because-
Key lime's all right.
Just because the main difference is the crust, right?
Honestly.
With the lemon
Yeah.
with the lemon meringue, you're getting a flaky crust, whereas with the key lime, you're getting that delicious crumbly graham cracker crust.
Oh yeah.
You know, and maybe
Yeah, and it's that nice meringue as well, like that nice meringue on the lemon meringue.
yeah.
Just goes with the lemon so nice, man.
Wait, do you stack
Yeah.
lemons on top of your meringue? Or do you just mix it in
Yes.
there? Okay. See, that's
Yes.
a new
Well, you
that's a
gotta
new trick.
you gotta stack them on top of each other like a Lincoln log cabin, and then but the issue with the key lime pie is that the keys don't really mix well with the limes. So I don't know, you know.
It's kind of hard to bite down on a key,
yeah.
honestly. It's a little
Well, yeah, it's really hard to swallow.
Yeah, it's
So, you
it's
know,
painful
it's-
going down and coming
coming
out.
It is.
Well, you know, we're glad to have you here. You know, we're just gonna talk through some things and have a good time.
Yes.
This
This is ultimately an intervention. I'm just kidding.
your gambling addiction stops here.
The poker is just so much fun.
It's so much fun. You get such a thrill out of being like, here, my money, and potentially
I'm
more
like,
of
here-
my money.
Did you guys?
Here's my money. Here is my house. Here is my cat.
And
Did you
here
guys
is
see
my
the,
girlfriend. I'm
Did
just
you guys see the meme that was like, it's the guy with the Trojan horse and the castle says my mental health, and the outside of the Trojan horse says stock market investments, and the inside of the Trojan horse says gambling addiction. And the guy's just
Trojan
like
horse.
presenting it.
Hey, Josh. So, we've talked about this in the past, but the biggest thing we know each other from is Maranatha Camp. And boy, have we gone into at length about Maranatha here on this podcast. So tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of how you knew us from Maranatha. You know what I mean? Obviously, you knew Wyatt separately because you had family, but like me and Joshua, you got to know us there.
What was your perspective of Joe and Josh as a kid?
My perspective was that they were just too cool for school, man.
Really? You thought they were
Just-
cool?
yeah. I thought they were. I was intimidated by them. Yeah, they were because they were you wanted to hang out with them more than me.
But see, the story is sort of flip flop. You guys, if you've listened before, it's sort of like I would hang out with Joe and Josh You know, and then my cousin wouldn't get to camp until like Tuesday, right? So I had like, sometimes some of Saturday, Sunday, Monday, where I'm hanging out with Joe and Josh. Then my cousin gets there, and it's like, yo, Josh is here. So I start hanging out with him, and then Josh and Joe Wisener are off in the corner. They're like, that Josh Goforth.
It's funny because when we're kids, like it's we don't understand because like it's like once you got used to me being there, you then kind of like missed Joe and Josh, and you're like, oh, I need to hang out with them more. And then to me, I was like, oh, he doesn't want to hang out with me anymore. Like, okay, well, I don't need Wyatt.
Was I the cool kid?
Dude, kind of.
Was I the cool kid?
Yeah,
a little bit of a cool kid, man. I mean, the thing is, I think kids are super territorial.
They are.
Especially with people like, okay, so we've obviously known each other most of our lives, but when you're a kid, you don't register, so you kind of make a list. So when I discovered that best friends is kind of a weird thing and that you can have many best friends or best of friends, when I was younger, I had this tier list of like, this is my best friend, second best friend, third best friend, fourth best friend.
Sometimes
right?
some of them move up.
Sometimes they move
down.
up and move up and down.
Yeah.
Unless you're a really loyal person.
Right. Well, see, the problem was that you were seeing them, horizontally.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly.
Or vertically when you should have been seeing them horizontally.
Should have been seeing them
right?
horizontally.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. And what's really weird is we even do this as adults sometimes.
Yeah.
We still prioritize our quote best friend and think that we don't have capacity to expand beyond that. So Josh, no offense, but when we were kids, you were below Wyatt on the tier list of friendships. And so
that's understandable.
That's why there was competition.
Well, see, here's also as a kid, I was very much like trying to hang out with everyone. I'm trying to appease everyone, sort of,
yes.
right? I've even had, and the problem is not only the kids, but the grown-ups will prey on your insecurities, right? And be like, well, you're hanging out with these guys instead of hanging out with my kids, right? But, and I'm like, I don't know who I'm supposed to hang out with.
I just know I have desires and feelings
wants.
I
can't be there for everyone.
Yeah. So obviously what you said, Josh, that there was, I mean, we've established there's competition when we were younger about who gets Wyatt's attention.
John Mark was there too.
John Mark was there too. John Mark was like, you and John Mark were kind of, you weren't a package deal, but sometimes sometimes when we were much younger, it felt that way.
Yeah.
Same like with me and Joshua.
Right.
Sometimes it's a package deal. Now you were a loner, Josh. You were like, I'm Josh. My name's Josh. Here I am.
Josh was Naruto.
Josh is Naruto.
I only bring that up because we were talking about it on the phone.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about
Nine-Tailed Fox.
Tell us a little bit about your earliest memories of camp in general. So did you have a tier list of best friends? Who were the people that you looked up to besides maybe me and Joshua? And
looked up to?
Was like, they're cool. I want to be like them. I want to be their friend.
I don't think you said that.
Okay. Intimidated by?
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe intimidated by because you're interested in friendships, I guess. I don't know. How would you put it? Go ahead.
So re-explain your question because you disconnected half a little bit in between that phrase.
I will say, who are other people that you were fascinated with? So when Wyatt would be like, I'm gonna go hang out with Josh and Joe or somebody else.
I think it was Ariana Grande for a while.
Yeah. So who else were you close with at camp?
Well, when we were kids, it was mostly just Wyatt that I focused mostly on.
Mm-hmm.
He was the one that I was more comfortable with, and other people came and went. Man, it's hard to think of names.
Well, we're just gonna
The Yeagers, like Corey
Well,
Yeager
let's like
and Matthew Yeager.
Just for everybody's sanity, let's keep it to first names. Let's not give full names.
Yeah, not full names. Okay, here's
Yeah.
interesting. You said you were focused on Wyatt. Why was that?
Oh.
Because he was more like he was family, and he like I knew him
Also,
more than anybody else.
we're similar in age. We're similar in personality. Even amongst my family, Josh hasn't vibed with Ethan or John Mark as much as me. Number one, because John Mark's older, and he has a different personality. In fact, for a while, Josh and John Mark didn't get along too well.
We didn't get along at all.
It hasn't been it's up until recently that you guys started getting along. And then, Ethan being the younger, crazy brother, hard to get along with Ethan too. Kids, you never know when Ethan's just going to swanton bomb you,
Okay, so you're really into music, right? Are you still into music these days? Still dabble?
I am, yes. My computer, I used to send you a bunch of my old songs that I used to make, and my old computer crashed because I got a virus on it finally.
Finally, what were you doing?
Well, yeah, because
you're just messing around.
Because I would take a bunch of like YouTube videos, and take the audio from them, and I would convert it. Yeah. And I was just waiting for the day that that converter gave me a virus.
I remember the MP3 converters.
Yeah.
And it was always kind of sketch. It was always kind of sketch, right? You'd go to MP3 converter site.
Yeah. Do you use a Mac or a Windows?
I use Windows.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, Mac's got that built-in protection, dog.
Yeah, the Apple products are nice like that, but they're just too pricey.
They are a little pricey.
So tell us a little bit about your history getting into music. Tell us a little bit about why you were getting into it in the first place. What about it interests you?
Well, my mom has always been huge into music from when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And that to me was kind of weird, because people would always ask me what I was doing with music, and I was like, well, nothing.
Right. Yeah, our family's always been the musical, right? My dad,
everybody in our family does music.
My dad sang in a boys choir, and Grandpa sang in his quartet, and Kim
mom sings in the choir.
Yeah, your mom sings in the choir. Yeah. And Christina's always been singing. It's just very musical.
And I never really thought of myself as much of a musician from when I was a kid, but then I was I'm pretty sure it was Pirates of the Caribbean was the thing that's kicked it all off.
I remember that.
I heard the theme song, and I'm like, man, that's fire.
Hold on, go into that a little bit. How did Pirates inspire you to get into music?
Started playing piano. You learned it on the piano. Yeah. And I remember you came to camp one year, and you were like, dun, 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 bum. Just playing it on the piano. And I was like, okay.
Go off.
So did you make any remixes of it or something once you got your computer? Because if that was your first love.
There's trap remixes.
Dude, of Pirates? Though?
There's so many.
I don't think there would be there. Yeah, there are just way too many remixes of that song. But the original's the best. The OG's mostly always the best. But yeah, that was the thing that kicked it off. Was I heard that, and I just really wanted to learn how to play it. And then as soon as I learned how to play that, I was like, man, I want to learn how to play so many more things.
Yeah. Were you the one who showed me the video of the dude playing it on the piano, and then at the end he sits on the piano?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. Mm-hmm. That was good stuff.
Was it such a good video?
Was it the Piano Guys or something?
I don't think it was Piano Guys.
No, it was I think it was a Piano Guys and a promoted video.
Yeah.
But it was somebody else. It was Jared somebody or Gerard.
Was the piano white? I feel like the piano was white.
No, it was black, but it did have very, very white keys.
I remember like he may have been wearing a white T-shirt or something, but I remember it was like,
he was wearing a black suit, but he had like it was just the white keys just looked so nice.
It was
so
a
good.
super good video
That's
because
why it
he's
looks
like
that.
he's hitting those keys, and then at the end he like sits on it. It's like boom. It's really cool.
And it's meant to sound weird, but it sounds so good with it.
Yeah. I too remember you sending us remix songs and things, and you know, we were always tossing back and forth some of the things we enjoyed, some Avicii, some who is the F777?
F777, yeah, Jesse.
Yeah, you actually talked to him a couple times, didn't you?
Yeah, we emailed back and forth for at least like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah. And he's made some really good tracks, right? I mean, there's several years where his music was like always on the playlist.
Really?
Always. We were always listening to him. But yeah, and then you would send us some of your remix stuff and some of that, which was always enjoyable. So
thank you.
Yeah, I mean, you've always been good with. I mean, even if you didn't know, like seriously know like an instrument like the guitar, right? Or I don't know how much you know for guitar playing. Would you say
not much?
Well, but you've always been able to pick one up and somehow, you know, even harmonize with somebody who can play, which I've always found really interesting. And you always picked up like songs on the piano. I think you did Davy Jones too. The
Josh
Jones.
taught me how to play
yeah.
Davy Jones on the
Taught
piano.
me too.
You taught me that.
Yeah, because we were always at camp like dum 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 dum.
Yeah, it was so catchy.
It was good.
Now, Pirates of the Caribbean is one of my favorite films. So, would you call it one of your favorite? What resonated?
Oh, yes, 100%. Yeah, it's Jack Sparrow. That's such an iconic character.
Yeah, that's I think that's probably why most people like it. I would have to say that might be the biggest reason why I liked it. I always just have been fascinated with pirates in general.
Yeah, me too.
But that's very fascinating that's what kind of kicked you off. What was that initial thing? I mean, you said you just were like, I have to learn how to do that. But did you think that would send you down a path to be like, all of a sudden it becomes a heavy passion of yours? Or were you just like, I'm going to learn how to play this one thing?
Yeah, it was more like, I'm going to learn how to play this one thing and then that'll be it. You know?
I think Pirates has been a big part of all of our lives.
Honestly, yeah.
I mean, even I remember hanging out at with Daniel Lilly. We were really young, and we were in the hallway pretend sword fighting, and he was quoting Orlando Bloom's part in where they're fighting, and I was Jack Sparrow, and we were fighting. And the movie had just come out.
Yeah,
it was like it had come out like a few weeks or a few months before or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
Now, it took me a minute to watch Curse of the Black Pearl from when it came out, but I remember I watched it, and then shortly after, Dead Men's Chest came out, and then At World's End was about to come out, and I remember you watched it, and I don't remember how you watched it. I think it was earlier than theaters or something. So I don't know.
We were always looking for those movie websites, man.
Yeah.
Now,
we were on the hunt.
Always, yeah.
Okay, but somehow you watched it, and you came to camp one year, and you were like, I watched it, and I was like, no, you didn't. You didn't watch it. It's not available yet. And you're like, I watched it. And then I was like, tell me what happens. And you started laying out stuff. Like, first off, Will Turner becomes Davy Jones at the end. Elizabeth only gets to see him every 10 years.
Yeah.
If she doesn't go to the ship and see him.
We're like, no.
And no, you were telling me all these crazy things. Jack Sparrow is in Davy Jones' locker. They go back and get him from Davy Jones' locker. Barbossa is like, him and Barbossa have this weird dynamic where they're like, you know, trying to be captains over each other. And you were telling me this story, and I was like, doesn't sound right to me. I was like, this is not true. He's just making up stuff. And then I watched it, and I was like, everything he said was right. Everything. And it's such a weird story. It's almost unbelievable the way it plays out. But I did not believe you at all when you told me about it. Was there any other maybe movies or songs or maybe artists that inspired you to keep moving forward with your work in music?
Yes, definitely.
It's that brief Japanese phase.
Yeah.
You remember that? I remember you rolling up and you're listening
where everything I listened to was Japanese. Nothing was in English. I couldn't understand the words, but I was like, this is so good.
Yeah.
So tell us about some of the other inspirations.
Early on, it was more of Dead Mouse. Dead Mouse was a huge inspiration. F777. Avicii was a big inspiration. Just artists like that were that I saw, or especially like Martin Garrix. Martin Garrix at the time I think I was like 16 and I think I was 17 and he was like 15 or 16 or something. And he had just released Animals. And it was like huge and it was so big. And I'm like, this kid is like about the same age, if not younger than me. And he's got this huge hit song. And then he put out like 4 more that were like all over the radio. And I'm like, this is insane. And I'm like, this is, I want to do something like that.
Yeah.
And that's when I really started getting into it, was when I saw like how big of a name that like a 15, 16-year-old can make for themselves. And I was like, I could do that too,
Yeah. Now, I don't know much about him. What songs does he do that I might know?
He does Animals. He does Proxy. He does he does Helicopter.
I think I've heard Helicopter.
You kind of have to like hum it. That's kind of the rules.
It's EDM, so there's not really words.
Okay, so is he quantified as a DJ then?
Yeah.
Okay.
DJ producer. Yeah.
Okay, so break that down for me. So the world of music, is it like artist, band, DJ, producers? Like how are these quantified away from each other? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So an artist and a band can kind of be identified as the same, but they're almost not, because it all, like, anybody is an artist, and to be a band, you could be one person and call yourself a band, but a band is like with multiple people, so that doesn't really fit you. It's art is really weird because you can call anything art and give it any kind of name and do anything with it.
Well, it's like you wouldn't, I mean, definitely, you would call like Boston. Boston is the artist, right?
Well, yeah.
But you think more of, when you think artist, you think more of like that singular, like Billy Joel, Tom Petty, or Lionel Richie. You think singular. You don't necessarily.
Yeah, because they're like the four. They have a band, but the band isn't them.
You think Lionel Richie, you don't think the Commodores. Right, as the artist, technically.
Yeah, because it's so with the artist, it's more of like they're like there's a forefront person, and even bands have that, like Panic at the Disco. Brendan Urie is Panic at the Disco, but he still calls his band his band. And it's not Brendan Urie, and it's just and then with it gets with DJs and producers can be the same but also different. So like a producer can be a DJ, because like I myself, I can produce music, and then I can also hop on like a DJ deck and like mix like a set, and that's that's where you like identify those two words.
Gotcha. So is a DJ more like someone who is creating music and sounds and, you know, the beats for the purpose of distributing that, whereas a producer is distributing it for a third party or like an artist or a band or something?
No, it's more of a DJ is someone who gets behind a like a set, not a set, but like turntables kind
Gotcha.
of.
So they're
like
almost
a mixer.
Yeah, they're remixing.
Okay.
So they're
Yeah,
taking,
they're more putting songs together for an experience and for like and they create mashups that you wouldn't hear every day that
Right.
like is for like an immersive experience.
So how do you quantify yourself? An artist, a producer? What do you
all of it. Yeah.
all of it?
Yeah,
When you drop in that
artist.
mixtape,
No time soon.
2021.
Hopefully 2026, baby.
Okay.
Watch
We'll plan
out.
for it. Watch out.
All right, so but okay, I'm trying to wrap my mind around this. Why do some, so like Maroon 5, that's a band.
Yeah.
But we also see Adam Levine as an artist. But he is the lead singer of a band. And then also, back when they were a thing, One Direction. It's just
Yeah.
five guys that would not be considered a band, but because they're all singers, they're all artists. But they're in a group. Is that just like a group of artists, like, or
Basically, yeah, it's like a group of artists that get together and form a band, but most of them are individual artists. There are people in there that aren't, but you know they'll go off and they'll be, you know, you'll see a lot of times in rock, like rock is a really good example where like not only the vocalist will go off and do something with somebody else, but the guitarist, the drummer, the keyboardist, and it'll say like featuring this person from this band. And that's when they kind of go off they like break away from the band perspective and they become an artist, but it's not like they themselves are like a brand, kind of like their band is.
Well, like which band was Justin Timberlake part of?
NSYNC.
Was that NSYNC?
Yeah.
So, I mean, Justin Timberlake now is definitely like his
He's
own
Justin
brand.
Timberlake.
You know?
Yes. Yeah. But that's because he broke off from NSYNC.
But he broke off from
yeah.
NSYNC, right?
Same with like Harry Styles is now Harry Styles.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, and he's no longer with One Direction, but
Yeah.
One Direction's
And then the last terminology question I have for you is, why do artists and bands, musicians, call it records?
Because it used to
it's
be
cool?
recorded on records.
I know
Yeah, 'cause-
that, but they still always called it records.
Well,
even-
it's just the terminology that's used mostly. You know, it's more of an official thing to say. I was just recording this record the other day. A record could mean a song, it could mean an album.
That's like we still call it a mixtape, but nobody's using a tape anymore.
I mean, nobody's
Yeah.
using anything physical these days except for vinyl, obviously, for hipsters.
Or if you're like burning some music onto some discs to pass out to your friends.
But who really does that, though?
Actually, you're
digital
right.
now. Everything's digital.
You're compiling it onto a file and sending it to your friends,
No, dude, you send them links.
or links to your SoundCloud.
Your
That's true.
SoundCloud.
Yo, I'm on
Your
SoundCloud. Check me out.
Here's
Your
my
Apple Music
mixtape.
playlists.
I'm gonna send you 3 links. It's my mixtape.
This is my mixtape. So, did you have a question?
go ahead,
I think I do that about once a podcast. I
Yes.
interrupt somebody. Go wait.
No, no. Go ahead.
So speaking of, I guess mixtapes and whatnot, what's your playlist looking like right nowadays? Because I know I remember when you first started making playlists on your phone on whatever you were listening to, you always had the most songs and the most varied music of anyone I know.
It's still about the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's still probably more varied.
Yeah.
If anything.
It's funny because anytime you would come to camp or we would hang out with you, we'd be riding in a car or something, listening to somebody else's playlist, and you always knew at least the chorus to every song that came on. It didn't matter what it was. Even if it was country, if it was pop, if it was rock, you at least knew the chorus, which I thought was funny.
That's actually something really funny that a lot of my friends say about me, is that I'm like the one person that can name off any song.
Mm-hmm.
And that I was at a show, at a Bass Nectar show with my friends Steven and Benjamin, and every single song that played that they didn't know, they were like, Josh, what song is this? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know every song that I hear. But it's just it's funny because everybody just has that assumption that I know the song, and it's like half of the time I do.
So you're a music enthusiast. Is it literally just listening to stuff, or do you? Okay,
Yeah.
This is a good question. Do you search songs or do you search artists when you're looking for music?
So that is a really good question. I most of the time I'll search the artist, and I'll go through the artist's catalog. And I'll try to, like, I work for DoorDash, so I especially have more time now when I'm like doing deliveries. But
Yeah.
I'll go through an album, and I'll try to go from their like earliest work to their newest, or I'll try to go from their newest work to their oldest. And I'll listen from song to song to song to song, and I'll see, like, does this song lead into this song? No. Okay. Well, what different elements from this song are in this song? Okay. Well, then, like, does this song sound like this song? And if an artist has too much of a generic sound, I can't get behind it because it's everywhere. And I'm
Give us some names. Who are you thinking has that?
Just off the top of my head is Marshmello, Justin Bieber. I would say Miley Cyrus, but she's kind of like straight off now, and she's her some of her new sounds are actually pretty dope.
Dude, I'm actually enjoying Miley Cyrus. What do you think about Noah Cyrus, her sister?
Is she doing anything?
She makes music, dog.
Is she really?
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
You're not
I'm
a fan
of it at all. No.
Really? I actually kind of like it more than Miley.
I do like it more than Miley, but I'm not a fan of it.
I mean, what about that Billy Ray?
That Billy Ray will always have my achy breaky heart, my man.
he owns a spot in my achy breaky heart. That's it. See, I do sort of the same thing where if I like a song, I look up the person, but I'll go on the internet and be like, best album, right? So-and-so's best album, right? And then start listening to those songs and seeing what I can jam to it.
See, I can't do that. I have to formulate my own opinion, and then I go from there, and I'm like, well, what do other people like think is like the best album?
Do you have a favorite song right now? Like one? Do you have one that just plays in your head and you have to listen to it?
Yes. It is it's by the Mono Whales, I think they're called. And it's man, I've had it stuck in my head all day and now I can't think of the chorus because I literally just listened to it on the way back home. But it's called I'm pulling it up right now. Out with the Old, by the Mono Whales.
Okay.
I heard it earlier this year, and it's coming out on a record that's coming out in March, I think.
Cool.
But it's I just heard it one time on the radio, and I was like, man, that's pretty catchy.
Mm-hmm.
And since then I kept playing it over and over and over again, and I've played it probably about 200 times now. And it's so good.
Mine is I Hope by Gabby Barrett. And
I don't even know who Gabby Barrett is.
It's the one I was listening to on the radio, the breakup song.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Anytime it's on the radio, I listen to it. When I was here by myself looking for a job, it was playing over and over again in this house on the speakers. Because I don't know, because it goes so hard.
Yeah.
And it's got some tasty
And it's
guitar in it,
savage.
and it's savage. It's kind of mean, and I like it. What about you, Joe? You got one?
I have quite a few. I actually wanted to ask Josh, what do you think of coffee?
I love coffee.
It's good.
It is good.
It's good.
But okay, so I'm assuming you know about Coffee, the artist.
I don't.
So earlier, he's just like, it's good. It's good. Coffee's good.
Coffee's a high recommendation. She's a Jamaican reggae artist. She's
Okay.
She's I think she's a teenager still, but she's got some. I don't think she has a full album yet, but she has a number of singles that are really good. But she's in Jamaica, man. She's cool. I think she's going to be the next revolutionary reggae music artist since Bob Marley. Because a lot of stuff coming out of Jamaica these days is all just dance pop music, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
she's incorporated modern music with that sort of classic reggae feel.
Get back to the
you know
roots
what I mean?
a little bit.
And it doesn't sound like Bob Marley's stuff, but it's really good, and it's jamming music, like it's awesome. But yeah, definitely check out Coffee. It's Coffee with a K instead of a C.
Well, since we're, we kind of been talking about music, but as you know, and as the viewers know, we're into music, we're into stories and movies and whatnot. So other than Pirates, what do you think? Do you have a movie score or even a musical or something that really, from a movie, that really resonates with you and you love hearing over and over?
Yes, and it's actually really funny because ever since I've seen the movie, like 3 or 4 years ago when it came out, I haven't been able to get it out of my head. And it's one 10-second clip of the whole soundtrack, and it's one 10-second clip from one song, and it's from the Annihilation soundtrack. And it's this. Yeah, it's a movie with it's not I think it's Natalie Portman.
Okay.
And it's
Oh, is
about
it a
her
new one?
husband. It's newer. Yeah, it's from
Okay.
2017.
I think I know what
2018.
you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, it's about they have a thing called a shimmer.
Yeah.
And
Yep,
her
I know
husband
exactly
gets
what
in
you're
it.
talking about.
Yeah, phenomenal movie. Such a good movie. But it's the one sound that plays throughout the movie.
Okay.
And it's introduced in this song, and it's like the little part that it plays in the song. It always gives me chills. And I always listen to that little snippet, and I wish someone would take it and put it into a song. And I want to do it, but I don't think I could do it justice.
You probably could.
You could actually take a snip and make whatever you come up with and send it to us, man.
Just add some reverb. That always.
It always
Oh,
covers it up.
it's all right. Just
When
add
I-
some reverb.
when I-
Auto-tune.
in my very, very brief song remixing phase, I mean, so brief, I'm talking it lasted maybe 20 minutes, right? When I was trying to make a little music, right?
Yeah.
I found that just add some reverb.
Just add some reverb.
Just add some reverb.
Reverb to if you want to make vocals sound awesome, always add some reverb. That's
little
or pitch
echo.
them down.
Yeah.
You got to pitch them down or add some reverb, or both. If you do both, that's even better.
Okay, so what are some just real quick, spout off some of the technical words for those who are listening that also know music or audio really well. What are some of the technical things that you look for when you're creating? So, I don't know, just throw it out there for the geeks that are listening. What's your process when you building the song, building some music?
Man, I can't really think of anything that's super nerdy. Because
Anything.
everything's
What do you-
everything's
reverb
got
sounds
pretty much,
nerdy. Reverb sounds nerdy.
What
for
are you
people.
looking for?
You gotta,
What are you looking for in the sound, right? Because I'm gonna watch that movie, so I can hear that music, but so I can sort of get a feel of what you're kind of feeling, what you're looking for. But what else do you sort of look for? Are you looking for serious beats, or are you looking for more piano or something specific when you find something you really like?
In like a song.
In a song, in a movie, in whatever.
Yeah, it's it really varies because and it has to do with the kind of music it is, because it's like electronic music has to be driven by a melody, and it has to be driven by a like a kick and like a snare. And if you don't have a good sounding kick, if you don't have a good sounding snare, it's a very, like, there's a lot of electronic songs out there that have so much potential that just don't make it because they have, like, the kick sounds too weak. The snare is just too like, it sounds too metally or too clangy or too artificial. And it just doesn't hit, you know?
Yeah.
But whenever I'm looking for a song, it's generally like the melody. It varies on the mood. Like sometimes I want more piano. Sometimes I want more guitar. And it's mostly always the same. I want like a pretty good driven beat and like a loud beat, like something that's not like silent and like in the background, like something that I can like hear. And I was like, okay. And if it, like, as long as it starts out like silent and then it builds into something that's heavy, that's fine. But like, you know, I can't stand listening to a 4-minute song that has like a tiny little kick drum in it.
But if it's like freaking what's the Imagine Dragons song that starts off with the boom, 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 boom. It just starts like from the beat. It doesn't build. It just starts with that.
Was it Thunder?
No, it's Pain. Is that
Pain? I know which one you're talking
Believer?
about.
It's Believer.
Believer, yeah.
It's Believer.
Yeah, Believer. Yeah, it's Believer.
Yeah, that one starts off heavy.
Okay,
Yes.
so they did a bass sound in Thunder that's supposed to replicate or at least remind you of a thunderous sound, right?
Mm.
What did you think of that when you're analyzing it? Because you've trained your ear to understand these things. I know they're a professional band. They probably had a lot of money spent on it. But what are your thoughts on some of these more high up artists on that song in particular? You know what I mean?
Well, I'm not like Imagine Dragons are pretty good. I'm not a huge fan of that song, but when it comes to that song with like that, it's you know, it's I like when an artist like goes all out for the sound, because that's when you can tell that they're really devoted. And even if you're not even if I'm not a fan, I like, you know, you have to take time out and appreciate that. Is that like, you know, like this, we named this Thunder, and like this is supposed to remind you of like a thunderous sound. It's like, oh, well, sweet. Well, you know, it's just like,
I absolutely agree, because there are some artists that are like singing, and the singing is the main part, right? But I love when an artist cares about the music. I mean, that was one of the big things, I think, with like some of the early Owl City stuff, was he was so dedicated to how the music sounded and remixing or mixing the way his music flowed. You know, he was less concerned with the vocals, you know, because he's more like, you know, 10 million fireflies. Like, but the music is popping off,
The
right?
music had kind of this shiny, glimmery, electronic.
Each song,
I don't know. It kind of felt all the same to me, though.
No, see, because
it varies song to
each
song.
song had a different emotion, right? The songs, the music itself had an emotion for early Owl City stuff.
Yeah, and it's a lot of people got lost in the lyrics because they would like listen to the lyrics and be like, oh, it's just like that weird like giggly pop, and it's like, well, no, if you actually like really listen to the lyrics, most of them are pretty sad.
His lyrics also in some of the songs, his lyrics are confoundingly like pun on top of pun on top of wordplay on top of
a lot of them
wordplay.
are like, a lot of them are either like silly, like there's a lot of the songs either have, a lot of them are themed too. Like there's like, they have stories, you know, which I absolutely adore when like an artist takes time out and like not only like, you know, like Wyatt said, like just focuses on the music, but like it's just like this like huge aspect where like the lyrics come into play, and they're like, okay, well, how can I convey kind of like the music feel into the lyrics? And it's like, you know, if you have like a happy, bubbly sound, like you have like kind of like most of the time happy, bubbly lyrics, or like there'll be like happy, bubbly sounding lyrics that have like a really depressive meaning that you
like,
can't even tell.
He did so well of mixing in so many different meanings in the. I mean, I'll listen to some of his music today, and I'll hear a lyric that I've heard millions of times before, and realize the wordplay, right?
Yeah.
I'll hear there's a specific like word, like play on words, right? And it'll baffle my mind that I never heard it before.
Do you like diving into the meaning behind it and trying to discover the song?
Sometimes. So with some of them I do, but then there's other ones that like, there's one I really enjoy.
Are you talking about Owl City songs or artists?
Owl City.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it Early Bird?
Early Birdie.
Yeah, where he's talking about like the city.
There's a lot of songs where he talks about the city.
That one. I
think he does an Early Birdie as well.
That one really. You sort of listen to the lyrics and you sort of listen to the music, but with most of his early stuff, it was pretty well balanced.
What was the city representing? What was he talking about?
I don't know. I need to listen to the song.
Do you know, Josh?
Well, I don't know with that, but I know one with me was like do you know Plant Life? Yeah, with like his line where he says, "I'd rather waltz than just walk through the forest." Yeah, man. There's like, to me, that's just like, you got to just take the time out to appreciate everything.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you guys like this, I believe I've talked to you about this, these artists, this band, 21 Pilots.
Yes.
What are you guys' thoughts? I think I know what Wyatt's gonna think, but I also think I know what you're gonna think. Talk about it.
Yeah, I'm waiting to see what Wyatt's gonna say.
See, now 21 Pilots was never my thing, right?
I don't know why. If you love Owl City,
because
21 Pilots is the same thing but takes it a step farther.
No, see, because Owl City, sort of shaped a view of reality that was, very whimsical, right?
Yeah.
Whereas 21 Pilots was more like, we talked about Peter Pan, right?
Mm-hmm.
Owl City was Neverland as seen from afar, and 21 Pilots is when you actually get there and it becomes a real place and it's dark and it's scary, right? That was 21 Pilots for me. I couldn't get into it because it was like, yeah, I agree.
I totally agree with how you're quantifying this.
Real.
But that's the difference between me and you, Wyatt. I'm ready to get in the danger and the scary, and I don't want to stick in the clouds and just observe and feel happy about it.
It's not. If I listen to music that I think is depressing, I will get depressed, right? So I don't listen to it because I enjoy being happy.
But the point of the music was to combat depression and mental illness. That's one of the biggest messages in 21 Pilots. So why does it do the opposite effect for you?
For me, every time I listened to a 21 Pilot song, I felt like I was wallowing. I felt like I was wallowing in self-pity.
Self-pity.
Right, which I don't do. I don't wallow in self-pity.
Okay.
Right?
As a, I can understand where Wyatt's coming from, because a lot of their songs do have a very dark sound. Like if you don't, and it's hard to get, like they have a message behind it and the meaning behind it, but like just being a consumer and being like a listener, just hearing those like few dark notes, and if you don't want to get into it, you're not going to get into it.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
I absolutely love 21 Pilots, but I also love dark, depressing music from time to time.
How deep
So-
did you dive, Josh?
You know.
Because I've dove
I've-
pretty deep into
Deep
21
tracks
Pilots.
only.
I've dove pretty deep.
How
yeah.
deep did you get? Did you get to
I've-
Dima? Did you get to all of this stuff?
So I haven't. I got pretty invested into Dima when they announced their tour, the Bandito tour. And then I just kind of lost. It wasn't that I lost interest, but it was just that I didn't understand everything, and I was like, this is just too confusing.
You didn't have the drive
Like, I'll
to
just enjoy
stick
the live
with it.
show.
You didn't keep pushing
Nah.
on and discover and uncode, dude. Freaking,
No.
I was right there. I was following the Twitter accounts. I was doing everything I could. If they send out like a little cryptic message, I was going to the website and being like, where can I put this cryptic message in a box and see what it opens? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, I was
Yeah.
deep into it. Still am. I saw Tyler Joseph post an Instagram story that the whole clique is talking about. It's just a picture of him looking like this, and he has a new symbol that's blue covering his eye. Like, that's just like a graphic placed on top of it.
And you're
And
like,
oh my gosh, what does this symbol mean? This is the color of the next album. It's like this baby blue color. We know that much.
You're trying
so
to
far.
connect
Like,
dots.
but the thing is,
Yeah.
everything they do is like that. They're telling a story. They're
Yeah.
telling a narrative story. So, speaking of telling a narrative story through music, what other artists have you seen do that you appreciate?
Ooh, Atmosphere. He's a pretty good hip hop artist. Does that from time
Pitbull.
to time. He'll
Cardi B.
yeah. The Cardi B has empowerment.
She tells stories that resonate with me.
She tells
They
stories.
resonate with my soul and my
Cardi
life.
B tells a very specific
A
story.
very specific
And I
story.
feel like people know what that story is because she keeps saying it.
She says it real loud
She says it real loud and often.
and very revealing.
She's being really exposing with her story. If you know what I say.
Oh yeah, definitely. But yeah, Atmosphere is a good one that he has like a few songs that like talk about depression, that talk about suicide. He has a lot of songs that talk about like domestic violence, that like, and that he used the proceeds from like the songs to like go towards like domestic violence shelters or like homeless shelters and like different things like that, like based on what the song's about. So that's one. Another one is who else was he? Mike Posner. Mike Posner is another phenomenal one. Who he has a bunch of songs that just have to deal with, just regular everyday issues that people go through, like, breakups, depression, addiction, struck, like, and just like, I like when artists like, what I don't like is when artists, take time out and they make one song or two songs and they collaborate with all these other artists and they make this big gigantic like kind of like parade out of it, where they're like, we raised this many in donations, we did this, this, we went to this place, and we made this song, all of us put out this song together and it's phenomenal, go listen to it. And to me that just kind of seems disingenuous, where like, someone who puts out like 3 songs on their album, totally like committed to, or puts out a whole album like Mike Posner did, that's completely like devoted to mental illness, or like, self-help, or different things, that like that's like a real artist that's just like, everyday people are struggling, and I have money, but that doesn't mean that I have to overlook anybody else's struggles, or
Right.
like, pretend like I don't have struggles myself. Because that's what a lot of famous people do, is that they use, money and fame to just overshadow their issues and just pretend like that they don't have them.
Yeah.
What do you think of Kendrick and what he's doing? Because he's being very much put on a pedestal right now for his messaging, his music, what he's doing with his craft. What do you think of Kendrick?
I actually haven't seen that much of Kendrick recently.
Lamar?
The last thing I saw about Kendrick was, I think, either last year or 2 years ago when he donated something. But besides that, I haven't seen anything. But what did he do?
It's not that he's doing anything. It's just right now, I think in the world of hip hop, rap, R&B, he is rising through the ranks. There's a lot of big name people that love his music, that have him open for their shows and stuff of that nature. And so he's being put on a pedestal right now by people like Dave Chappelle, by people. They think his message is super important. What he's talking about with his music, it's not just about entertainment and enjoyment. It's about a cultural phenomenon. It's about a movement. So I'm interested to hear what you have to think about that,
Yeah. That's where it gets, kind of tricky, is that when I'm all for someone using their music to like talk about a message or like spread anything, but I've seen I've seen some videos with Kendrick where like that he had a video where he, like, this girl was like said a lyric to like one of his songs, and he told her to basically get off the stage because she quoted exactly what the lyric was, but it wasn't a word that she was supposed to say. Yeah. And it
seemed like he baited her into that.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's like I like his music's all right, but it's just this like, if there's a message behind that, it just gets lost. Because I can't, like, a message to me has to be backed up with actions.
Yeah.
And that's
so his behavior is
thing.
kind of off-putting, and it overshadows his music for you.
Yeah.
I hear that. Yeah, I mean, I'm not. It's weird. Like, there's a lot of artists out there that do that. Especially right now, this past summer, and we're not going to talk about politics at all.
Yeah.
But, it's an aspect. Music morphs with culture. So this past summer, there was a lot of hip hop, just songs that came out of the entertainment industry in general, to reinforce a lot of ideas. Not that the ideas are bad at all, but it's like the messaging has to turn into this political narrative. You know what I mean? And so sometimes it's not that I disconnect from that at all, but I can see what you're saying, where sometimes the behavior of specific artists and what they do, and maybe even in sometimes what you believe, because we're all human. like, we don't want to say politics should matter.
I think music should be for everyone.
Yeah, exactly. Music should be for everyone.
I think you should, you should definitely, know your audience, right? But I think music should be for everyone, and you shouldn't be actively trying to alienate anyone with your message.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I agree that some messages are good and need to be said, but I don't think you should be alienating others with your messages, or encouraging people to, be rude to others or anything like that. I think music's one of those things that
Unifier.
It should be a unifier. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Sort of on a different note, did you watch the Super Bowl?
I did not. No, I was. I don't remember what I was doing.
It was kind of a pathetic game.
Did you go back? Did you go back
Tom
and
Brady?
rewatch?
Okay, so Tom Brady won. So Tom Brady won.
I did see that. I was figuring.
But the halftime show was The Weeknd. But I thought his halftime show was really good in comparison to the past couple years. His it was to the point. It was real cut and dry. He sang his songs. He performed some. They had a bunch of people dancing and doing some choreographed dances.
I still don't think it was as good as Justin Timberlake's, though. Because Justin Timberlake
was pretty dope.
He was literally
Yeah.
doing a duet with Prince, who was dead at the time.
Yeah.
Justin Timberlake was, and it was also a really awesome game. I don't know what I liked better that year, the game with Philadelphia and the Patriots, or Justin Timberlake's halftime show.
Well, I think while this year's game was kind of subpar, I think The Weeknd did good with the halftime show, because it could have been sucky game, sucky halftime show. But I think at least
exactly.
Plus the memes, the memes that came out of that halftime show,
the memes were primo.
They were so good.
NFL, under no circumstances, from someone who pays to watch the game and is willing to do so always, never hire Cardi B to do a halftime show.
Please no.
please, NFL.
They were
don't
like,
ever do it.
Don't
ever pull that
string. It's
string.
between
Don't do it.
Cardi B and The Weeknd. Who we got? And they're like, let's play it safe. Let's just play it safe. We're going with The Weeknd.
Please don't ever go with Cardi B. I don't care how famous she gets.
Where are we at time wise?
Oh, we're getting close to wrapping it up, but I wanted to kind of end with this topic, Josh. So a lot of people use music to help themselves mentally, emotionally, sometimes physically. Let me ask you this. So I don't deal with any kind of depression or anything, but I do occasionally get moments of anxiety, especially at night or when I'm not in the sunlight. I think sunlight, bathing your body in sunlight, does something wondrous for your mental health and for your body and the way your body feels. But I think music goes along that same vein. So I want to hear your thoughts about how do you think music can heal humans? And not just from like a messaging standpoint, a healing of the world or whatever, but actually on an individual basis. How do you use music to help yourself? How should we use music? The other day, I was literally driving home. It had been raining for like 2 weeks straight, no sunny days. It was sunny, it was warm. I put the window down, and I was blaring music just off the radio.
What kind of music?
Radio music, man.
Okay.
Some little bit of rap, little bit of twerking music.
No 21 Pilots?
I didn't have my CD, and I don't have an auxiliary cord or one of those connections you can do wirelessly in your car. So no,
I've got a tape. I've got one little tape to plug in that plugs into my phone.
So Josh, tell us what you think about how does music heal people? Like literally, because I was feeling great when I was just listening to music, man. I literally felt better.
Well, music, especially when I was younger, I did it more where if I was like feeling, I would kind of like judge, or I kind of see songs based on emotion. So I'll kind of like label in my head like as like sad songs, happy songs, are kind of like in between that, like, you know, like certain like piano songs just sound happy and certain piano songs just sound sad. It's kind of like the same thing with like just regular songs, especially when they have you know, like driven lyrics behind them with like a message. So music can be so healing to just even to hear just even like one line from like somebody who has this like song that you're listening to and you're taking the time out of your day, or like even just like a vibe from a song, you know, because even it could just be like a vibe from a song, you know. There's some Flume songs out there that like it'll just be a sunny day outside and I'll be playing it and like, this just does not work for like today, like because it's making me sad, you know. And it's you know, it's more of when I truly believe that when people feel a certain way, they should listen to and I don't know how it's going to work for everybody. I know how it works for me, but they should listen to, you know, like songs that fit their mood, and then they should kind of work up from there to like try to, if they're like sad, they should start out with like sad songs. And like how I would do it when I was like, you know, 17 or 18 or 19 or like or younger, and I was feeling like sad or whatever, I would just put on like some like really, really sad like Billy Joel or like really sad like something, and I would just like sit there and I'd be like, man, this sucks.
I am sad.
And then I just kind of work up from there, and I get like, a little happier, a little happier, a little happier. And if it's, or if it's like a rainy day outside and I can't even work myself up to that, I'll just listen to sad song after sad song, and even that helps me feel better. Because it's just like, it's just matching to me. It's just matching the vibe to like the mood of the day. So I think that like, it's you have to kind of like sync up the moods, to like, and that sounds really hippie-ish.
No,
like to even things
because,
out,
my playlist is varied. So sometimes it can be jarring when I'm like, yeah, I'm listening to a song, and then the next song is sad, and I'm like,
yeah,
and then the next song is like, I'm like, it's not something I should do if I'm trying to stay in a certain state of mind. If I need to be happy and I'm listening to happy songs, I gotta stay listening to happy. It can't transition to a different kind of song, because then I'm like, man.
And also,
Exactly,
when you're feeling good and another baller, happy, beaten song,
you don't
want to
listen to 21
You're
Pilots.
gonna keep up there, man. You're gonna be like, I don't even care what the lyrics are, man. I'm just,
I'm ready.
Yeah,
I'm trying not to wreck my
Oh
car.
my gosh, this is great.
You're like, I hate this song, but I know the lyrics.
Okay, and then the last question is, do you think from creating beats, creating sounds, creating flows, do you think that without lyrics, those can literally heal the body?
Yes.
I do too. Do you think so?
I think music is powerful.
Now, even lyric-free music, music in general can heal the body.
It's powerful. I mean, some of my favorite songs have no lyrics, or there's a specific Owl City song. I'm trying to remember, I think it's Vanilla Twilight. The chorus, there's no chorus. It's just music. Right? It's just and that specific chorus, right, which is just music, is my favorite. I love listening to it.
Because it hits you so hard.
Yeah,
it hits you even harder than the lyrics do.
It's because the lyrics are kind of sad, right?
Yeah.
But that chorus hits different. It makes you happy. The lyrics are sad. Chorus makes you happy.
I rarely
and then
listen
like
to lyrics.
then the last chorus comes in, it makes you just feel overall happy and sad, and you're like, man.
You're like, yes. You're like crying. You're like, yes.
Yeah, like sing it, Adam.
You right.
You're right.
You right, bruh.
Awesome, guys. So I guess the recommendation is go listen to some music and let it heal you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
definitely.
send us a DM if it doesn't heal you.
If it doesn't,
do a check-in. Let us know.
let us know if you're all right.
Let us know if it's
us.
not working.
Look in the mirror. Give yourself a high five. Just call it a day.
Give yourself a high
Don't break
five.
that mirror, though, dog. We already saw a black cat once in this episode.
episode.
Did you see the black cat in the episode?
No.
Oh, guys, I saw a black cat in this episode. If you saw it, leave it in the comments.
What?
There was a black cat in this episode.
Josh?
Whoa.
No.
He's a black cat?
He's a black cat. No, a literal black cat was in this episode.
I didn't see it. Do you
If
have a black
saw
cat, Josh?
Yeah, I do.
I think it's laying down behind him. Is that the back of it?
She is, yeah.
She stood up at one point, looked up, and I saw the eyes go like shimmer. And I was like, crap, man, we're all dying today.
It's only if it crosses.
Cat, I was like, where?
It's only if it crosses in front of you.
It crossed in front of us.
No, it's got to go from one side to the other.
It went from one screen to the other.
It did.
Oh my gosh.
We're gonna
I'm
die
scared now. All right.
All right, Josh. Plug your social medias, man. Tell people where they can follow you if they want to hear some of your music, if they want to hear your recommendations, if they want to follow your life.
When you put out that mixtape,
you
know,
tell people where you're dropping it.
Well, I have a lot of playlists that I make on my Apple Music, and my Apple Music is just literally, I think it's Josh G 12345. And if people want to listen to my playlists and hear them out, go there and listen to them.
I'm gonna do it. Apple Music.
Yeah.
Apple Music. Yeah, you gotta. It's like a monthly subscription. I think it's like $4.99. It's like
Okay.
Spotify.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Apple Music guy, Josh G, 12345. Go follow his vibe. Hey Josh.
Yeah, I got vibes on vibes.
Thanks for being here, Josh.
He's got lemons on meringue.
I got keys on limes, bro.
You got keys in line, dog. Hey, thanks for being here, Josh. We appreciate it. It's a pleasure talking to you, sir.
Yeah, man.
Thank you for having me, man. It's a
Alright,
pleasure
bro.
to be on here.
Hey, go subscribe to the Wiseworks podcast here.
Yes, definitely.
And also we're on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Follow us there. And if you already do that, thank you. Leave a comment and like it on YouTube, I guess.
Yeah.
We appreciate you guys. See you on Friday night for the midnight special. Well, you'll hear us.
Bye.
Bye.